From trailing 0-2, India have managed to take the series to decider. How this turnaround came about? We'll try and figure that out over the period of next 15 minutes. Its destiny has been intertwined with IPL because remember 2014 season playing for Royal Challengers Bangalore for the first time. Before that he was associated with the Mumbai Indians. He came up with phenomenal numbers. After that made his way to the Indian team as well. But then again back in the previous season first leg struggled and then wasn't considered for the Indian T20. I scored for the World Cup but then made a comeback in the second leg of the IPL, and this season of the IPL he took it a notch up. 27 wickets in total to his name, was the purple cap winner as well. युजवेंद्र चहल, remember the name. और इतने अट्रैक्टिव शॉट्स हालांकि ईशान किशन ने पहले T20I में पावर प्ले के अंदर नहीं खेले, लेकिन जिसे कहते हैं कुछ अगली शॉट्स खेलने पड़ते हैं, ग्राइंड आउट करना पड़ता है और वापस फॉर्म को रीडिस्कवर किया. इनफैक्ट इन द 2020 सीजन ऑफ IPL he was the fourth highest run getter overall, the highest run getter for Mumbai Indians. 2021 struggled but in the final game against Rajasthan Royals managed a quick fire 50. This season of IPL as well had a mixed season, couldn't get a lot of consistent runs. लेकिन हमने देखा है कि जब भी इंडियन टीम की जोशी में उतरे हैं, रन्स बनाए हैं. What has worked for them? Yet another nervy finish, this time though, England scampering home by 4 wickets to seal their semi-finals berth. Quite a cracker of a contest as we expected it to be. Sri Lanka winning the toss and opting to bat first, posting 141. Despite the start that they got, they scored 50 within the first 5 overs. Pathum Nissanka stepping up with the 67, but not much contribution from the other end. Sri Lanka could only manage 141. England in response raced off to a flyer. They too got 75 for the first wicket, but after that it was tough for them. But eventually Ben Stokes seeing the team home with his 42 unbeaten. Hasaranga, Lahiru Kumara, Dhananjay De Silva chipping in with 2 wickets respectively. To talk more about this game, we've got Deep Dasgupta. Deep, Group 1 की तो अब क्लैरिटी आ गई है क्योंकि न्यूजीलैंड और इंग्लैंड ने सेमीफाइनल्स की राह तय की है. लेकिन वापस इस मैच का जिक्र करते हैं. इंग्लैंड क्रिकेट का कोई बड़ा मोमेंट हो इस डेकेड में और उसमें बेन स्टोक्स का नाम नहीं लिखा हो, वो शायद मुश्किल है. इनॉग्यूरल विमेंस प्रीमियर लीग के ऑक्शन का फैंस को बेसब्री से इंतजार है, लेकिन अब ये इंतजार जरा सा और बढ़ गया है क्योंकि पहले आई खबरों के अनुसार ऑक्शन होने थे फरवरी महीने के पहले हफ्ते में, लेकिन पोस्टपोन हो गए तो अब होंगे 11 या 13 फरवरी में से किसी एक दिन. लेकिन तैयारियां तो जोर शोर से चली रही हैं. टीमों ने अपने सपोर्ट स्टाफ को नियुक्त करना शुरू कर दिया है. Coming back to Glenn Phillips' batting and how good he was, particularly towards the death against Thikshana, there's one thing that stands out: the way he was manipulating the bowler and the boundaries. धोनी का जिक्र किया. धोनी वाले हेलीकॉप्टर भी कभी-कभी हार्दिक पांड्या के बल्ले से देखने को मिलते हैं और जनरली गेंदबाज जब प्रेशर में होता है डेथ ओवर में तो यॉर्क करने की कोशिश करता है, लेकिन वो मार्जिन ऑफ एरर हार्दिक पांड्या के खिलाफ कितना कम होता है बिकॉज बहुत कंफर्टेबल दिखता है अगर फुल टॉसेस उनके सामने आ जाए तो. एक बहुत दिलचस्प नाम लिया अभी मुनीश ने, एडम गिलक्रिस्ट. प्रॉब्ली उनके बाद से विकेट कीपर से जो एक्सपेक्टेशंस थी शायद वो भी बढ़ गई और MS धोनी, ऋषभ पंत ऐसे बल्लेबाज उसमें और कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं. आप लगातार लग्जरी वर्ड का इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं और बहुत एप्ट भी है क्योंकि इस इंग्लिश टीम के पास इतने सारे विकल्प हैं. मोइन अली, फैंस को बहुत पहले भी जब मोइन मॉर्गन कप्तान हुआ करते थे तब भी ये शिकायत होती थी कि उनसे गेंदबाजी क्यों नहीं कराई जाती. पिछले मुकाबले में पावर प्ले के अंदर गेंदबाजी कराई गई. आज के मुकाबले में एक ही ओवर दिया गया डिस्पाइट द फैक्ट कि हम लगातार मेंशन कर रहे थे SCG पे स्पिनर्स को मदद मिले. And Stuart, Pakistan would be keen to prove they are better than what the points table at the moment seems to suggest.
I would like to believe that Chris would be a little disappointed with that and would want them to be a little more consistent in their performances.
So someone who came from a very different socio-cultural background to go to Sri Lanka to understand what the country was going through and to encourage its players, its cricketers to deliver their best. Farooq Singh. England might ask Ireland, what is your problem with us? And no, don't ask me to go back to my history books. I'm not talking about the historical context, but in the context of this World Cup, they defeated England and now have lost by this big margin to Australia.
Mumbai Indians are just not letting Lasith Malinga go. Will also not let you go anywhere, as we'll be right back after this very short break.
Talking about backing one's strength, now that was evident in Mark Wood's case as well. Like Farooq sir mentioned earlier in the show that he would continue bowling fast, was taken for 17 in the first over, came back to deliver two important overs in the death, and there he gave away just 10 runs while picking up three crucial wickets. Your thoughts on Mark Wood?
Someone like Mark Wood, it's like a Ferrari, right?
You're being very posh today. Luxury being thrown around quite frequently, although in the context of English team. And then this Ferrari analogy. Let's see the sort of analogies that social media came up with after England's today's win against Sri Lanka, and with England having sealed their top 4 spot. Social Tracker brought to you by Battery Set.
आपने मेंशन किया मौका मिला, ब्रेक का फ़ायदा उठाया. अभी इस मौके का फ़ायदा उठा के हमारे प्रोड्यूसर ने ब्रेक का सिग्नल दे दिया. छोटे से ब्रेक के बाद वापस आते हैं, कंपेयर करते हैं कुछ आंकड़े ईशान किशन और संजू सैमसन के.
जी बिल्कुल. इनफैक्ट कैलकुलेटर ऐप जो फोन टैब लैपटॉप में जिसका लंबे टाइम से शायद इस्तेमाल नहीं होगा, वो अब सब जगह निकल रहा है, बिकॉज नेट रन रेट भी यहाँ पे काफी इंपॉर्टेंट होने वाला है. Maldeep, make your maths teacher proud and tell us all the permutations that exist in Group 2. But Farooq sir, before we sign off, your thoughts on Australia's campaign. We saw that even in the build-up to the campaign, they weren't at their best.
With Australia, being out, because they've always thought themselves to be the best at everything, whatever they do. They're very cocky people and all that.
Well, that's a former Indian cricketer residing in England. When he says such a thing, you've got to believe it.
बहुत खिलाड़ी ऐसे आए भी जो टैलेंटेड थे, बट अगर उन्होंने काम अच्छा नहीं किया अपनी गेम पे, तो वो सक्सेसफुल ज़्यादा लंबे समय तक नहीं हुए.
And discipline is probably what helped India claw back into the series. What the numbers say about the players in this particular series? We have Mahavir Rawat to tell us more about it.
Farooq sir, probably a balancing factor considering how things have been at Perth. So probably Sydney is trying to strike an equilibrium in this World Cup. And coming back to Trent Bolt's bowling, there were some slow ones as well in between. But the tweets that we are bringing did not be slow, they were pacey, because we are moving on to our next segment, that's Social Tracker. Deep is on the go, and you can see that from his background. And that's how this tournament has been. It hasn't allowed us to catch our breath, and we'd expect it to move on in the same momentum tomorrow as well, when there's so much at stake for 4 teams involved and for the remaining 2 as well, because remember, Zimbabwe and Netherlands is direct qualification as well that they'll be eyeing for the 2024 World Cup.